Hello, everyone. Welcome to Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from our living rooms. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
Thank you for joining us today. If you likey, then subscribey. All right, something is happening across America. Students keep protesting at universities across the nation, while law enforcement continues efforts to remove the protesters. Highways are being blocked, trains delayed, and sections of college campuses have been shut down. Students are protesting the Israel Hamas war, as you've noticed in the news. Many of the protesters have committed to continue occupying school grounds despite efforts to clear them out. Some university faculty members have passed symbolic votes of no confidence in their campus leadership in states like California, Georgia, and Texas. Tensions are high as school officials try to plan for the graduation ceremonies in the next few weeks, not next few months, next few weeks.
Yeah, this is coming. This is coming at a really critical time for college campuses because, they're coming to their end of their semester. Some of these colleges are having to have makeshift test sites, like they're taking them off campus so these guys can test and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, just imagine like these seniors that are graduating next month. So they were in COVID lockdown for maybe their senior year in high school and couldn't walk through a graduation. And then they went into first and second year of university, probably streamed like we're doing right now. And then third year partial in person and streaming, and then fourth year live in person. And now they can't go through another graduation because of these protests. It's a little bit wonky.
Oh yeah, it's more than a little bit. I think this is kind of out of control here, and a lot of these colleges or universities, colleges and universities, their leadership is not handling this well at all.
Yeah, it depends on the state.
Yeah.
These anti-Semite
Exactly.
Yeah, these anti-Semite protests started at Columbia University. Students have camped out on the school commons with tents. A deadline for protesters to remove their encampment came and went. Their goal is to force the university to divest from Israel. Does that sound familiar? Divest from Israel? There was bills going around in Congress. Ilhan Omar was trying to do this divest from Israel, and it got voted down. And end policing on campus and release a statement calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. And while negotiations between activists and leadership stall, faculty members are calling for an investigation into Columbia's president's leadership. Can leadership be investigated? New York NYPD claims that college campus agitators are professional protesters. Some of them.
Some of
Not
them.
all of them. Yeah, some of them.
I would buy that.
So we're going to talk about some of these universities that are going through this. We just talked about Columbia. George Washington University has relocated final exams because of an encampment in their commons. School officials installed barricades to confine the encampment, and the university president pledged to provide a safe and quiet place for students to take their exams. So, like you said, Scott, it's disruptive for exam taking.
Yeah, and these things, I don't believe that this falls under the premise of a peaceful protest. These protests are violent, and
some of them,
and they're blocking the normal path and traffic of people, citizens of the country, and that's not right. So
right,
they're crossing a line,
and we're gonna delve into that right at the end. So stick with us to the end because we're gonna talk about what this overall overarching purpose is. The University of Florida made it clear that anti-Israel protests happening across the nations will not be tolerated at its campus. Not up in here.
Good for Florida.
The university will allow protesters to engage in speech, expressing viewpoints and holding signs, but also lists many prohibited actions, including using threats, engaging in violence, or protesting inside of campus buildings.
Yeah. I don't. Our college campuses, even state campuses, is that considered private property? I mean, if you're not supposed to be there, they can right? Or
Well,
remove.
private, like Stanford is private, they can remove you, but like university, like Arizona State or Cal State, those are public institutions.
Yeah,
And
but
what
if I don't have a good reason to be there, um, can they not ask me to leave?
I guess, yeah, the campus police could, yeah, if you don't pop out a student ID, they can ask you to leave. Yeah.
Yeah,
University of Texas at Austin has suspended the Palestine Solidarity Committee chapter for its involvement in protests on its campus. UT Austin is arresting unruly protesters and expelling students in order to enforce their rules. They maintain that mostly peaceful protests within the rules are acceptable. Emerson College has arrested more than 100 anti-Israel protesters, and the Student Government Association voted for the resignation of the school president. The board of trustees backed the president, rightfully so. That was a little bit crazy.
yeah,
Um, Police at Northwestern University arrested 100 protesters that were encamped at their school commons. Of the individuals detained, this is interesting, those having a valid school ID were released and will face school disciplinary actions, not legal actions. Students were heard chanting, "We're just students," and "Good cops quit." Protesters on this campus were heard yelling, "Kill the Jews," and others yelled, "No right to exist." That's some crazy talk right there.
that is crazy talk.
Yeah, that shouldn't be tolerated. Because that could hurt people. That really could hurt people.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I was listening this morning, uh, coming back from cleaning our church building, and I listened to a lady say that she feels threatened. You know, she's Jewish, and these protesters are being violent. She's been attacked before, assaulted, and yeah, she feels very, very threatened. So, and I'm sure she's not alone.
yeah, it's crazy that this anti-Semitic it just popped its ugly head up across the nation. It's
Yeah,
crazy. I guess it was simmering underneath. I don't know. I mean, I don't have those kind of feelings about any group of people. So
right.
it's a little bit foreign to me to try to wrap my hands around. Even in my own alma mater, Arizona State University, uh, eh, police confronted protesters on the campus. ASU is one of the most populated campuses in the nation, having more than 74,000 students. That's a crazy amount. That was a crazy amount of students.
That's a small city.
Yeah, yeah. So here we're coming to the research that I promised you. Research by NBC News reveals the protests are backed by a quote, "a vast network that includes left-leaning, billion-dollar American philanthropies and collaboration with at least one foreign organization that Germany and Israel have banned for allegedly working with Hamas and another terrorist group." End quote. Hatem Abudaya, the national chair of the U.S. Palestinian Community Network, which has organized street protests in Cleveland, Chicago, and Detroit, says that the goal of the demonstration is to make, quote, Democrats feel the heat not only from the mass protests, but also from the people who are being stopped in the streets who aren't making it to work on time, as you alluded to, Scott, earlier. So it's not just affecting the campuses; it's affecting stuff around the campuses too. People not being able to work. And in that report, one of the people, she's an attorney, she's Palestinian here in America, president of something organization. She said that with Trump, they know what to expect because he's anti-Palestinian. But with Biden, Biden is so how do you put it, waffling. One minute he's for Israel, the next minute he's for Gaza, and back and forth. So they're really frustrated with Biden's response to this.
Well, I don't really think we know where the White House stands on this topic or this action that's happening right now. Because
On the
I
campuses, you mean?
yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
we know
yeah. I
where
don't
they.
think we know either.
I
Yeah,
watched a news conference where President Biden just was being, he was having questions shouted to him from the press corps, and he just walked off the podium.
yeah.
No comment, no nothing. I mean, not even a no comment, just turned and walked, which is kind of typical for him, depending
For
on
him, yeah.
the. But I even watched one with um, the press secretary,
Corinne Jean-Pierre.
Pierre. Yeah, so she took no stand. Nothing further at this time. Well, holy cow! This kind of reminds me of the protests that were happening back in the 60s and early 70s on the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
This is pretty disruptive stuff, and I don't know. People are obviously we're a divided country, pretty much 50-50, and there's a lot of people that are just not going to stand for this. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
I think White House is hedging their bets because it's an election year, and they don't want to upset the Muslim Arab community because they want their votes. They have seen what's happened in Michigan with the Arabs, Muslim people saying, no, we're not going to vote for Biden.
Right.
So I think that's why they're hedging their bets and not coming out with a clear. And this is going to contribute to Biden's downfall. It's like it's all piling up. Everything that he's done is piling up so that it's just going to collapse. The dead may vote for Biden, but the people that are enthused about Trump are going to overcome that.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is this is not just a topic that we see or we hear about that's overseas or whatever, that we can turn the channel or whatever. This is happening in people's backyards. People live by these campuses, and they're sending kids to these schools and spending big money to do that. And I don't know.
Some of the donors are pulling back, and it's like right. Robert Kraft from the Patriots. He's no longer. He's going to pause from supporting Columbia because of what's going on. It takes strong leadership from these universities to manage this and to damage control, I guess.
Well, yeah, absolutely damage control. But I mean, there again, like, the United States government's primary purpose is to keep its citizenry safe. I think that's the same thing that needs to be done on these campuses. If they need to go in and boot these people off, especially if they have no business being there, no, student ID, they're being bussed in or paid to be there by a outside organization, I say boot them off and arrest them, but I don't know.
All right, everyone, leave your comments on what you think about what's going on, this new Arab Spring that's going across the United States. Let us know. We appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day. Thank you.